Hi there, this is Mr. Evans with a video on stakeholders. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Stakeholders is the final section of this Unit 3.2 on managers' leadership and decision making, and the next few videos I do will all be about stakeholders. What is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is an individual or a group of people who are affected by or have an interest in an organisation. Okay, so those groups of people who are directly affected by or have some sort of interest in the day-to-day running of a business, or not necessarily even the day-to-day running of a business. The government would be an example of a stakeholder, and they're not too worried about the day-to-day running of a business, but they are still interested in making sure that business pays its tax and adheres to the law. So anybody who's interested in that business would be considered a stakeholder. It's worth just pointing out, of course, that different types of organisations will have different groups of stakeholders. So we think of businesses, sort of stakeholders involved in the business, the shareholders, the customers, the suppliers of the business. Schools will have slightly different groups of stakeholders. They'll have parents, a governing body, the students themselves. So of course the different types of organisation, public sector, private sector, charities, all of those will have different groups that are interested in the work that they do. These are relatively self-explanatory. The important thing that you need to be aware of is what the different needs of each group of stakeholders are. So it's really another way of saying, why is this group interested in the business? Okay, I'll just go through one. Customers, of course, they're shopping at the business, therefore they're going to need value for money, they're going to want quality and service. I'll leave those up on the screen there. I don't think I need to go through them in too much detail, but like I say, hopefully they should be relatively self-explanatory. What I will quickly go over though is a few confusions that I have picked out from students and regularly see. The first one is that shareholders and stakeholders, really easy mistake to make. The words are very similar, but a shareholder is obviously the owner of a limited company and is one stakeholder. So we would kind of put stakeholder as the title, groups of people who have an interest in the business, and a shareholder is a category of stakeholder. Very easy to get those two words confused, and I see that happening quite a lot. So make sure that you've got those the distinction between the two really clear in your mind. Second mistake that I see being made regularly is confusing customers and the local community. The example that I like to give is that I lived in the same road as a pub for a long time, and I probably lived on that road for 5 years. I think I went in the pub 2 or 3 times. So I wouldn't really consider myself as a customer of that pub, and yet that pub had deliveries very early in the morning sometimes. People would sit outside late into the evening. The pub would obviously close at around 11 or 11:30, so occasionally you'd get very loud people coming down the road. Glasses get smashed outside pubs. The point that I'm making is that although I wasn't a customer of that business, I was a member of the local community and I was affected by that business. And my interest when I went in there as a customer were different to what my interest is as a local resident of that business. So make sure you've got that distinction clear in your mind as well. Just because somebody is a local resident, it doesn't mean that the opening of a new business in that area is going to positively affect them. because they might not use the business. They might just be affected by noise pollution and litter and things like that. Final mistake that I see made in relation to shareholders, sorry, I've done it there myself, haven't I? In relation to stakeholders, is that some students treat all stakeholders as all stakeholders within a group the same. In other words, let's just imagine that Apple bring out an update for the iPhone. Now, some consumers might love that update. They might think it fixed some bugs that were annoying them in the last update. Some people may be annoyed. It might change the functionality slightly. They might lose a feature that they liked before. So a mistake that I commonly see made, especially with employees. Some employees may be positively affected by the business going to opening 24 hours. They'll get more flexibility, maybe more pay overnight. Some employees may be negatively affected by that change. The point is, when you're talking about a decision and how it will affect stakeholders, yes, we can generalise and we can say generally this is how people will be affected, but it's worth always remembering in your mind as an evaluation point, okay, well, let's just remember that there will be differences of opinion even within that group of stakeholders. Okay, so I hope that kind of helped to clarify some mistakes that I see made in relation to this relatively simple topic, and you will be able to produce decent exam answers when there's a question that involves stakeholders.